Hello, everybody, and welcome to Thursday's Math. I'm very glad that you're joining me today. We are going to get started with our math. Don't forget that if you haven't sent in your assessment yet, now is a good time to do it. So if you haven't sent in your assessment, please do. You can send it to me on Teams or Class Dojo. If you have a problem with getting it in, send me a message and I will help you, I promise. All right. Now let's get going on Thursday. So it is Thursday, the 27th of May, and we're going to start math right now. All right, grade 5s, I am here with your Thursday's math. Let's get started. So today I have two different warm-ups, and we are getting to the end of the year. So I am going to be switching. Like I said, I'm not going to be doing quite as much multiplication and division practice. I'm going to be going over a lot of the outcomes that I want to make sure that are covered before grade 6. So you're going to see more of these area type problems and more practice with algebra and measurement and fractions and decimals. Okay. So it says use, but you should still be practicing your multiplication facts. It says use the clues to figure out the value of each symbol. The total area is 144 units squared. This is 144 units squared total. So in here, these squares need to add up to 144. I already have 100, and I have to figure out how to get 44. Now I have some good ideas about that. Let's go through. Okay, and you probably do too. So if you look at this, pause the video. Don't just watch me do it. I'd like you to pause the video and try and figure this one out. Okay, so I'm going to do the first one, the square fact. Something times something is 100. 10 times 10 is 100. Remember, length times width equals area. Length times width, 10 times 10 is 100. Now, I figured out 100. And I know that this is, now I have enough to figure out the rest of this. So I would like you to pause the video to try to figure out the tree and the worms. Okay, so pause the video and try to figure out the tree and the worms. And I am going to add the solution in at the end of the video. So you do have to actually stop and figure it out. Okay, so go and figure out if this is 10 and this is 10, how do we figure, and this is 100 altogether, and your area needs to add up to 144. How do we do that? Okay, so pause the video and try it. Try and figure it out. Remember, length times width. So I'm going to let you try. You just try it and see if you can figure it out, and I will post a solution at the end of the video. Now, this one here, 2 truths and 1 lie. It says figure out which are true and which is a lie. So 7 times cow is 700, and cow times other cow is 1,000. Okay, so something times 7 is 700. 7 times something is 700. Well, 7 times 100 is 700. So all of these cows are 100. These white and brown cows are 100. Okay, and again, it even says here, this cow is 100. So now that you've figured that out, we know this one's true. Which other two are false? Okay, so I'm gonna, again, this I want you to pause and work through. I will post the solution at the end of the video, but I would really like it if you try it on your own. So pause the video and try to figure out which one of these is the lie. Okay, which one of these is the lie? Okay, now we're gonna move on to Thursday. It says draw a rectangle with a perimeter of 18 centimeters. Now you could do this any number of ways. There are many different ways to draw a rectangle with a perimeter of 18 centimeters. You can figure out, remember perimeter, it just has to add up to 18 around the outside. So I'm going to draw one right now as an example. All right, so these are 6 and 6, so I'm at 12. And then so I'm just going to write 6 and 6. And this last one here. So if I already have 12 and I have to equal 18, my shorter side is going to be, so from 12 to 18, I'm just going to write this, my thinking out here. 12 to 18, you have to add, is the same as doing 12. I don't want to confuse you guys here. The way I think of things in my head isn't the correct way to write them down. So I'm actually going to do it on here. So 12 plus something is 18. That's what I'm trying to say. So what do I need to put in here? Well, 12 plus 6 is 18. So I have 6 centimeters left in my, because my total has to be 18. So it's 6 and 6 is 12. I have 6 more centimeters left in my perimeter. So this side is going to be 3 centimeters and this side is going to be 3 centimeters. Now, if you have a ruler handy and you have space, you should try drawing this to scale. I'm not drawing it to scale, but I think you guys could. So that means that you take the ruler and you measure out whatever yours is. I mean, you could do any combination, different combinations to make 18 centimeters around. And remember, perimeter is where it goes around the shape. Around the shape. Now, number 2, what device or tool would you use to find the size of an angle? And that is a protractor. And it looks like, and I wish I had one here, I don't. It kind of looks like a rainbow. Okay, and it has a straight line here, and then I'm really gonna have to find a protractor. I looked all over my house before I knew I was filming this and I couldn't find it. So I know I have one at school. So a protractor is this little, it's like a see-through rainbow almost, and you put it on top of the angle and you can measure the angle. So a protractor. What time is it? What's the time, Mr. Wolf? Okay, so I look at my clock. Okay, it's past 2 o'clock, but it's not 3 yet. And my minute hand has gone past 2 o'clock 5, 10, 15, 20, 25 times. So it's 25 minutes. It's 2:25, and I don't know if it's AM or PM. All right. Now, what unit of measurement would you use to find the mass of a car? So that's how heavy a car is. Now, you probably would not be measuring it in grams. It would probably be, I believe, that cars are measured in kilograms. So if you go looking for a new car or a used car, you can look up how much the car weighs on its own without people in it. So there will be a weight there. And the reason that's important to know what your car weighs is the heavier the car or truck or vehicle, the more fuel it's going to need to move. So we do actually measure the weight of a car, and I was shocked to find out that my car, it's like an SUV, weighs the same as my husband's truck. So I always thought a truck would be heavier, but in reality, my SUV, which looks smaller, actually weighs the same, pretty much the same as the truck. I think it's like within 15 kilograms or something of each other. It was quite eye-opening. So definitely something to consider, the measurement of the mass of a car, the weight of a car. You should consider when you're looking at a purchase of a car, because it's going to affect how much gas you use. So will the engine, but the lighter the car, the less fuel it takes to move the car, the less energy. Okay, 25 liters is how many milliliters? Okay, so in a liter, there's 1,000 milliliters to 1 liter. So to figure out how many milliliters, you have to do 25 times 1,000. So that's pretty easy. 25 times 1,000. Look, I have 1, 2, 3 zeros. There we go. Now, my pages, I fixed this on yours, but when I printed this out originally, I did not check it. And your next part that should be down here is on the other side of mine. This is on the bottom of your page though. Okay, so now we're on this part. And I've moved it on yours. I just wasn't gonna waste paper and reprint it, so I'm using this. Okay, so we're gonna be doing some more practice with perimeter and area. We did practice this the other day, so I'm gonna do one example, and then I'm gonna have you do the other 2 on your own, because I know you can. So just to review, perimeter is the distance all the way around a shape. So I'm going to highlight the perimeter. So if you want to find the perimeter, you need to find the distance all the way around a shape. 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 And I'm just going to highlight that this is your perimeter. So to do that, you can do 2 length plus 2 width. So that's pretty easy. 2 times 7 is 14. 2 times 3 is 6. So 14 plus 6 is 20. My perimeter is 20 millimeters. So that's the same as doing 7 plus 7 and 3 plus 3, because when we have a straightforward shape like this, we know that if we know this side, we also know that side. So my next one for area, it's length times width. And remember, I do this so it doesn't look like a 1. Oh, sorry guys. Length times width. So my length is 7 millimeters times 3 millimeters. So length times width, 7 times 3 is 21 millimeters. And then I just put this little square, 21 millimeters squared. So 7 times 3 is 21. I would be able to fit 21 little tiny millimeter squares in this if it was to scale. Remember, we put that little 2 up there to show that we're measuring how many squares would fit in. It's a really bad drawing, but how many squares would fit in rather than the length. This is just a straight measurement. This little 2 means you're measuring in squares. Now, you're going to move on to the next one. You're going to do perimeter. You're going to add 9 and 9 and 10 and 10. You're going to add all your sides together. You can even just do 9 plus 10 plus 9 plus 10 if you want, however you're going to do it. And then you're going to do length times width to give your area. And for this one, it's a square. So you could just do, it's not a rectangle. You could just do 10 plus 10 plus 10 plus 10. You could do 10 times 4 for your perimeter. And for your area, you're going to go 10 times 10. Okay? All right. Now, I am going to go to the next part of the assignment for today. So for you, this is page 2. And you're going to pause the video and work on these 2 on your own, right? And then you're going to come back to work on decimals on a number line with me. So last time we did a little bit of an introduction to decimals. I'm just going to show you this little thing. Remember, decimals, this is my whole number. A decimal is a way to write a fraction of a number. So this is 126 whole ones, whole numbers, and this is 8/10 and 5/100, or 0.85 of 1. So once this gets to 100, okay, so say we get to 100, then it would be 127.00, right? Because this is 100 hundredths. And again, there are videos posted to the math channel if you are going, this is a really hard concept, guys, to teach remotely. I'm sorry. I'm kind of at a loss other than telling you videos and comparing it to money. That's the best way I can see it. So it's a fraction represented like this. That's all it is. So numbers, it says decimals on a number line. We can use a number line for decimals, just like we use for fractions. Let's take a look. So this number line represents tenths. Write the decimal form for each fraction. So again, we did this with fractions way back. I don't know if you remember, but from 0 to 1. So a fraction is less than 1. Always less than 1 if it's otherwise it's an improper fraction, right? So it's less than 1. So I go through, all right, 0.1, these are tenths, so I'd write 0.2, 0.3, because this is 3/10 is 0.3, 4/10 is 0.4, 5/10 is 0.5, 6/10 is 0.6, 7/10 is 0.7, 8/10 is 0.8, and 9/10 is 0.9. Okay, so those are all my numbers on a number line. Now, I am going to move on to the next part, and it says, what if we want to represent hundredths on a number line? Could we figure that out, where it would be located on a number line marked in tenths? Let's see. All right, you could. Let's see. So this one, all right, we are going to be marking, this is confusing of why they're marking in tenths. But if you were to go in between here, it would be 0.65 or 65 over 100. 65 hundredths. So halfway in between 0.6 and 0.7, it's 0.65, 65 over 100. Now imagine if I just add another 0 to each of these. You see what I'm doing here? So a tenth is 10 hundredths. 2 tenths is 20 hundredths. 3 tenths is 30 hundredths. 4 tenths is 40 hundredths. 5 tenths is 50 hundredths. 6 tenths is 60 hundredths. 7 tenths is 70 hundredths. 8 tenths is 80 hundredths. 9 tenths is 90 hundredths. Okay, now it's asking us to go through, and again, these are just different ways of writing the same thing. Now you could take those zeros off and we could be 4 tenths again, and that would be great. So there's 4 tenths. Okay, so now we're going to go to the next one, and it says, between which two numbers on the number line would the following decimals be found? So 0.15. So I would look, it's between 0.1 and 0.2. So between, or we could do our fractions. 1/10 and 2 tenths, or 100 or 10 hundredths and 20 hundredths, or between 0.1 and 0.2. All right, don't get confused, and don't worry, I'm going to help you with this one. So I'm going to work through this whole thing with you. If you're getting it, you can feel free to go on to do it on your own. I am going to work through each one of these with you guys, though, so don't fret. Okay, the next one's 0.88. So I go to 0.8. It's going to be in between 0.8 and 0.9, which is 8 tenths and 9 tenths. I'm just going to write, it's math, between, I'm doing it shortened, and I'm going to do 8 tenths and 9 tenths, because it would be right here. 0.88 would be right there. Or between 0.8 and 0.9. If you're confused, keep going, okay? If you're confused, just keep watching and realizing that in between here are little tiny ticks. So in between 0.1 and 0.2, one, two, three, four, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, I'm just gonna do this real quick. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Again, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8, 9. So in between here are little tiny ticks. I really hope you could see that because I noticed it was pretty high up. So we're placing these numbers. So 0.52, I imagine, so it's between 0.5 and 0.6. So imagine that this is 0. If you have those zeros there. So 0.50 and 0.60. 0.52 is going to be right here. 0.52. She goes right there. So now it's between 5 tenths and 6 tenths. Okay. I would write between 5 tenths and 6 tenths. Or between 0, and I look here, 0.5 and 0.6. 0.5 and 0.6. Okay, now I'm going to go on to 0.67. So 0.67, I look, and I know my number line's getting crowded. Sorry, guys. So I've marked 0.65 already. 0.67 is going to be right here. I'm going to grab a different color. 0.67 is right here. Apparently, I'm not going to grab a different color because my markers and pens have been left open. Okay, so 0.67 is right there. So it's between 0.6 and 0.7. So you write between oh, sorry, and that's 6/10 and 7/10. Or between 0.6 and 0.7. All right, now I'm going to move on to 0.49. So I go up here and I go, okay, I've got 0.4 and 0.5. 0.49 would be right here. Right where that yellow is. I hope you can see that on my camera. So 0.49 is going to be in between 4/10 and 5/10, or 0.4 and 0.5. Between 4/10 and 5/10. Okay, or between 0.4, because that means the same thing, right? Oh, and 0.5 in math language. Okay, my last two. This next one is 0.12, or 12 hundredths. So again, I'm going to go to 0.1, and then I just count up 2 more ticks. 1, 2, and it's right here. It's between 1/10 and 2/10. And I know my zeros are probably confusing you now. Or 10 hundredths and 20 hundredths, they're the same. Or 0.1 and 0.2. So we write that, we go down here and we write between 1/10 and 2/10, or between 0.1 and 0.2. Now we're going to do the last one. It's 0.26. I'm going to go here and look here. So I look, all right, I've got 0.2, and I go do 1.1, 0.2, 0.21, 0.22, 0.23, 0.24, 0.25, 0.26. So it's right here. Gotta get rid of that pen so I stop picking it up. 0.26 goes right here, right where that yellow arrow is. 0.26, so it's between 0.2 and 0.3. It's between 2/10 and 3/10. It's between 20 hundredths and 30 hundredths. They're all the same, guys. These are all different ways of writing the same spot on the line. It's all showing you the spot on the line right here. So now I go down here and I write between 2/10 and 3/10, or I know you can't really see my writing here, between 0.2 and 0.3. All right, I know that was a long haul, guys, but hopefully it's starting to make a little bit more sense. We're gonna go over, and if you want to pause the video and go watch some, or just take a break before you start hundredths, please feel free to do that. Because I know for some people, this is going to be a lot to take in, okay? And if we were at school, I would be doing it differently, but again, we are not at school, so I'm doing my best. Let's go to, it says hundredths as decimals. We know that when we represent hundredths as decimals, we sometimes are working with both tenths and hundredths. For example, 42 hundredths is the same as 4/10 and 2 hundredths. Fill in the spaces on the chart and tell me what you know using what you know about hundredths. So this is a chart. It's one of those ones where you have just enough filled in to figure it out. I am going to go through with you guys. I'm going to do maybe 4, and you're going to do the last 3 on your own. So don't panic. I promise it's not scary. We're going to start with the first one. So we have a picture. That's all we have. So our picture shows 1, 2, 3, 4 rows of 10. So that's 40 hundredths. Okay, and that is 4 tenths and 0 hundredths. Okay, and the fraction is 40 over 100. The decimal is 0.40. Okay, you don't need to have the second 0 here, but I know that it helps some people, so I'm putting it there. Now, the next one is 50 hundredths. All right, so I'm going to go back to my picture, and I'm going to draw that because I am a visual learner, and I like to see the picture. So 50 hundredths would be like this. 5 rows of 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I would be coloring in 5 rows of 10 if my pen was cooperating, and that is 50 hundredths. Which is 5 tenths and 0 hundredths. 50 hundredths, they've already done the fraction for me, so I go 0.50. Remember, you could just do 0.5. They're the same. 0.50, that tells me I have 50 hundredths. Okay, so for my next one, it gives me the decimal. It doesn't give me the picture or anything else. It gives me the decimal, and this time I'm going to use my highlighter to color. So 0.46, that's 46 hundredths. I'm going to go and I'm going to fill in, making sure you can see, I'm going to fill in 1, 2, 3, 4 rows of 10. So I have my 40, and now I have to fill in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 little tiny squares, hundredths. Okay, so I have 46 and my little dash, hundredths. Okay, and that is 4 tenths and 6 hundredths. All right, now that's 46 over 100, because again, this is my fraction. I'm going to do one more with you guys, and then I'm going to have you try it on your own, okay? So this one, they've only given us the word, okay? So they've only given us the word form, 6 tenths and 4 hundredths. So I'm going to go over here, and I'm going to color, actually, look at it. It's going to be 6 tenths and 4 hundredths, 64 hundredths. And then I would do 0.6 tenths and 4 hundredths, 6 tenths, 4 hundredths. Okay, and that is 64 hundredths. All right, now I'm going to highlight 64. So I will do 6 rows of 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 rows of 10. And then 4 little squares. 1, 2, 3, 4. 64 hundredths. Now you are going to go do the next 3. So for this one, you're going to count how many because you have a picture. You start with the picture, do it in words, try it in tenths and hundredths. So you count, okay, how many I have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 rows of 10, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it's 75 hundredths. This one, it tells you it's 28 hundredths. So you would color in 28 squares, you would do 2/10 and 8/1. Oh, I'm giving you 8/100. I'm giving you all the answers. I don't want to do this. And this one is 61/100. So again, 61/100. You're going to write it as a picture, as words, tenths and hundredths, and then you're going to do it as decimal. Okay? That is the end of math for today. I am going to go back and give you the solutions for this. So I'm going to start with my area model. Again, if you haven't done this yet, pause it and practice. You need to practice these number skills, these thinking skills, and just watching it on the video, guys, is not going to help you next year. So let's practice. Okay, 10 times 10 is 100. So that means that 2 times 10 is 20. So the trees are 20. Now, wormies, I've got 2 times 2 is 4. So now I add up to make sure I have 144 squares, right? The 144 squares would fit there. So I have 100 and 20 and 20, which is 140. And then the worms are worth 4, 144. That one's done. Now this one, 2 truths and a lie. So I know that the cow is 100. That's allowed. Now 100 plus this guy, what is it? Well, we know that the cow is 100. What is this guy? Well, okay, 100 times something is 1,000. 100 times 10 is 1,000. So this guy is 10. Now let's look. Is 100 plus 10 1,010? No, it is not. So this is our lie. And this one is correct. 10 equals 10. So this one is the lie. All right. Thank you for tuning in for math. Please know that I will be posting decimal videos to our grade 5 math team. Please go check out some more people explaining decimals. Maybe the way I explained it didn't make sense to you. That doesn't mean that decimals aren't going to make sense to you. I promise they will with a little bit of practice, okay? And just listen to some more explanations. Maybe watch some visual explanations. Do some building of decimals, try and look at money, whatever way you can think of to practice this skill and get it to make sense to you, okay? So if you're a visual learner, look at pictures. If you are a kinesthetic learner, maybe do some building. You could take a square and put 100 Lego pieces on there. Whatever works for you, try it out. All right, thank you very much. And I will be back, what day is this? This is Thursday. You will have more math on Monday. I'll see you Monday for more math. Please remember, if you haven't done your flip grids from last week yet, I'd love to see them. Thank you. You did it! Awesome. And again, just want to thank you for showing up. I want to thank you for checking in. I want to thank you for all your hard work, all the things you're sending me. I really love that we are staying connected the best we can, and know that I see your hard work and I appreciate your hard work. And Miss LeBay and I are so lucky to have our students checking in with us and continuing to work with us. So have a beautiful rest of your day. I will see you next Monday for more math.